All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Saturday, Independence Day.
Yeah.
250 years today.
Everybody says Happy 4th, but it's really Independence Day. Happy Independence Day.
That's right.
We are an independent country, and
I can remember being in North Dakota for a family reunion at that time, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
200th bicentennial. Hotter than blazes up there.
I really don't remember the bicentennial.
No, I don't imagine you would. It shows my age right there compared to you.
There's not that much difference.
Yeah, it's only 9
years.
years.
For the outside world to know, there's not that much difference, but I'm a bicentennial baby.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that.
Yeah. All right, today, love fulfills God's requirements. Romans chapter 13, starting at verse 8. Owe nothing to anyone except for your obligation to love one another. If you love your neighbor, you will fulfill the requirements of God's law. For the commandments say, you must not commit adultery, you must not murder, you must not steal, you must not covet. These and other such commandments are summed up in this one commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to others, so love fulfills the requirements of God's law. This is all the more urgent, for you know how late it is. Time is running out. Wake up, for your salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. The night is almost gone. The day of salvation will soon be here. So remove your dark deeds like dirty clothes and put on the shining armor of living right, because we belong to the day. We must live decent lives for all to see. Don't participate in the darkness of wild parties and drunkenness, or in sexual promiscuity and immoral living, or in quarreling and jealousy. Instead, clothe yourself with the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ, and don't let yourself think about ways to indulge your evil desires. Now the commentary. Why is love for others called an obligation? We are permanently in debt to Christ for the lavish love he has poured out on us. The only way we can even begin to repay this debt is by fulfilling our obligation to love others in turn. Because Christ's love will always be infinitely greater than ours, we will always have the obligation to love our neighbors. Somehow, many of us have gotten the idea that self-love is wrong. But if this were the case, it would be pointless to love our neighbors as ourselves. Paul explains what he means by self-love. Even if you have low self-esteem, you probably excuse me. That was coming for a long time there. All right. Even if you have low self-esteem, you probably don't willingly let yourself go hungry. You take care of your body and may even exercise. You clothe yourself reasonably well. You make sure there's a roof over your head. You try not to let yourself be cheated or injured. This is the kind of love we need to have for our neighbor. Do you see that others are fed, clothed, and housed as well as they can be? Are you concerned about issues of social justice? Loving others as ourselves means actively working to see that their needs are met. Interestingly, people who focus on others rather than on themselves rarely suffer from low self-esteem. Christians must obey the law of love, which supersedes both religious and civil laws. How easy is it to exercise our indifference, how easy is it to excuse our indifference to others merely because we have no legal obligation to help them, and even to justify harming them if our actions are technically legal? But Jesus does not leave loopholes in the law of love. Whenever love demands it, we are to go beyond human legal requirements and imitate the God of love. See James chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, and chapter 4, verse 11. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 16 and 17, for more about this law of love. The night refers to the present evil time. The day refers to the time of Christ's return. Some people are surprised that Paul lists fighting and jealousy with the gross and obvious sins of drunkenness and immorality. Like Jesus in his Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5 through 7, Paul considers attitudes as important as actions. Just as hatred leads to murder, so jealousy leads to strife, and lust leads to adultery. When Christ returns, he wants to find his people clean on the inside as well on the outside. How do we clothe ourselves with the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ? First, we identify with Christ in being baptized. Galatians chapter 3, verse 27. This shows our solidarity with other Christians and with the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Second, we exemplify the qualities Jesus showed while he was here on earth: love, humility, truth, and service. In a sense, we play what Jesus we role play what Jesus would do in our situation. See Ephesians chapter 4, 24 through 32, and Colossians chapter 3, 10 through 17. We also must avoid those situations that open the door to gratify sinful desires, rather.
If you know a place is going to be tempting for you, you should avoid that place.
Yep.
It's easier to avoid temptations than it is to make the right choice when the temptation arises.
Yeah. And, avoidance is good, but in the particular sin of sexual immorality, he says to flee, like to run away from it. Don't just sit there and stare at it and, think about it. Just run away from it as fast and as hard as you can.
Right.
But the law of love, that even Jesus said that. He talked to the people and said, asked the one guy, what are the commandments? And he listed them and said, okay, these are all summed up in two, right? Love your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. So Paul isn't teaching anything different than Jesus did. And so the whole law, all of it, is summed up into two things. And the love that we have for one another is fulfilling the law.
Right.
I mean, it kind of common sense there, right? Don't steal. Don't steal from somebody. Don't lust after somebody else's person or things, or don't cheat them. Don't lie to them. All these things.
It all demonstrates love.
You don't have to sit there and check a box. It's one big thing. You wouldn't want somebody to do it to you.
Exactly.
So it's not a good idea to do it to somebody else and then be surprised when they react, the way they should.
Yeah.
So this is, I guess I don't know what more to say, but that we are living in the night, and we should. God, Jesus is the light, and we are to be the mirrors of his light in this dark world. We don't make our own light. We can only reflect his light, because if we're left to ourselves, and as he found us, we were in the dark. We were the darkness.
Right.
But now he has picked us up, cleaned us off, shined us up, and now we should reflect his glory, his light to others.
Right.
So that they will join us in the light.
Right.
Okay. Hope everybody has a glorious Independence Day.
Please remember the prayer requests that are in the prayer request box from the market.
Yep. All right. Have a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.